One of the most important practices that we've put into place on our farm in the last few years has been adding drain tile. It's dramatically helped yield, and the thing with drain tile is, Darren, it's very misunderstood.
Well, it certainly is. One of the things that a few farmers have said to me this year is, oh boy, you guys are probably really suffering from that drought because you got all that tile in the ground that probably let all the water go.
Oh, ridiculous. Our best crop is right over our tile lines.
It is amazing. You know, when you think about what tile does, it removes excess water. So the soil will be at full saturation point before that tile will start running at all. And when the tile quits running, it's still completely full with what it can safely use and hold.
Yeah, and the big misconception is that water comes in from the top. So in other words, when it rains, the water will go right into the tile line, and that is absolutely not true. What happens is when the water table rises from underneath and it gets above the level of the tile, that's when the tile lines start running. So until your water table gets up to 4 feet or up to 3 feet, however deep your tile line is set at, the tile line isn't even running. So this year, in this drought year, we haven't had the tile lines running on our farm for a couple of months. But you know what? This spring, when it was wet and we had some big rains, we had very high water tables in a lot of areas. And thank goodness we had the tile on the ground, because that allowed our roots to get deeper early in the season, so then the crop could withstand this drought we've had this summer.
Now this year, when we had that tile in the ground, right over those tile lines in a drought year, it's by far our best crop. And I've had so many farmers tell me this year, I can see exactly where my tile lines are. It's my best crop. Explain that to me. It's a drought year. I thought it was just going to be like that on the wet years.
Yep, but the whole thing is a crop has to get a good start. And very early in the season, I mean literally in the first couple weeks after you put your seed in the ground, you might have roots that are getting down deep enough that they're getting cut off by a high water table. If they're cut off that early in the season, you know what's going to happen. You don't have as deep a roots or as plentiful a root system down very deep in the ground, and you need deep roots at this time of the year. On our farm, we've got a lot of roots now, a lot of corn roots that are down 6, 9, 12 feet in the ground. They're still able to extract a little bit of moisture down there. Yes, it's dry. We haven't had rain for I don't know how long it's been. It's ridiculous. But that doesn't change the fact that there is some moisture way down deep in that ground. And if we've got roots there to get that, then at least our crop can survive.
Well, this drain tile, we're talking about it on a drought year. And why would you say, you know, drain tile is so important, you need to get going on this right away on your farm? And people are saying, Brian, I don't have any kind of moisture issue at all. I'm short of moisture.
That's right now. But the whole thing is, right now, you can get into areas of your farm that might not necessarily be the easiest areas to get into all the time. I talk to farmers every fall that say, well, it's a little wet in this area. I got to wait till it freezes up, then I'll try to put my tile line in. You don't even have to worry about that. When you've got a drought year, now is a great time to get out there and get it done. And as a farmer, you always have to be thinking big picture, and you have to be thinking long term. My family's going to own this ground for the next 50 years or 100 years or whatever it is. What's the best way to invest my money so I can get a good crop for the next 100 years or the next 50 years or even the next 10 years. And I can just tell you, we've had a lot of wet years on our farm. I'm sure you have as well. Even if it isn't necessarily a wet year like this one though, we had a couple wet months early in the spring, and the tile paid off just in those couple of wet months because it allowed our roots to get a little bit deeper. So we talk about this kind of stuff because in a dry year, it's the best time to get tiling done. Just like in a wet year, it's the best time to put another pivot in if you need to get irrigation done, because nobody's going to complain if it's a dry year and you want to put tile in. People are just going to think you're nuts.
Well, and we're not trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. What we're talking about here is emotion. And when we've got a year, like we've had some flood years in recent memory, and when that's happening, you can't talk about, hey, you know, I want to do something to change the course of water and, you know, this may impact your field. People are too emotional to make rational, logical decisions.
But the whole thing is, with tile, we're not going to flood anybody out. In fact, tiling reduces flooding. Tiling reduces erosion. Tiling improves downstream water quality. It's good things. It's just emotion sometimes gets in the way, and you see somebody putting drain tile in, and automatically you think, oh, they're going to flood me out. It's the end of the world. No, that's not how tile works.
And the other side of that is, right now when you ask your neighbor, hey, you know, what do you think about tile? I'd like to put some tile through here. Most people are going to laugh at you and say, are you crazy? You're going to go broke. What are you doing? It's a drought year, and you know, it's just the right time to do it. Hey, if you think I'm crazy and I'm doing the right thing, that's okay with me.
Yep, but probably the biggest thing, again, is you can get into areas on your farm, you can have NRCS come out and inspect it, whatever. I mean, how many wet areas do you really have left on your farm?
Well,
There
that's
isn't
true.
much.
They're
Other than true wetlands or true duck ponds or whatever it is, we're not talking about tiling any of that. All we're saying is ground you've already been farming. We're just trying to make it better and help you get deeper roots in the future.
If you're going to do tiling, now's the time where it's a good investment to buy your own plow and do it yourself.
Yeah, it doesn't cost much money to get that done. We own a plow, and it's just something that I think every farmer in the country should have because it's real simple and easy work. With modern technology now, basically the computer controls the tile plow. It'll put the tile in more accurately than even a custom operator could ever do it prior to 5 or 6 years ago. So we just think it's a great thing. It's made us so much money on the farm. Being able to put in our own tile, put it in where we want to put it in at the right time so all the work gets done. It's been a great thing. I can't say enough good things about the tile that we've done.
One of the things that I like about tiling, Brian, is it really helps us fight our weed of the week. We'll show you how to stop this weed coming up next.